Let's get more on all of this from Peter Mathews, who joins us from Los Angeles. He's a professor of political science at Cypress College in California. Peter, great to have you back with us. When you look at what Walmart has done on the surface, it looks like a good thing. You're decreasing or scaling back the sales, but at the same time, they're discouraging customers not to carry guns inside their stores. Does this really make a dent, I guess, in solving this issue in the United States?
I think it's a very small dent because the problem goes way back to the NRA. The NRA is one of the most powerful special interest lobbies in Washington, and they have a budget in 2018 of $412 million. 51% of members of Congress have taken money from them for their campaigns and for lobbying. And this is a lot of influence in Congress, and that's the problem. That Congress hasn't voted for real gun regulation or gun control that we would desperately need. So this is a symbolic move on the part of the Walmart. I'm not sure it'll have much of a dent, maybe a small, tiny little dent in the whole problem of shootings in America, mass shootings, as well as shootings with handguns, where 26,000 people every year die in America to the gun violence.
I remember actually after covering the Newtown, Connecticut massacre, where Adam Lanza killed 20 children and 6 adults. I think it was Big 5 Sporting Goods also made a similar move where they were taking assault-style rifles off the shelves. So again, we're now in the wake of another mass shooting. We're seeing retailers and businesses, but yet the government, as you say, is really the one that this resides with in going against the gun lobby. Are we wasting oxygen again after every mass shooting talking about this, or has the conversation really evolved after El Paso?
I think it's evolving, and there is a mass movement to try to get this total gun violence under control by using political means. It has to be the government that has to pass significant gun regulation, background checks, for example, banning assault-style weapons. All that has to be done. And again, it's the lobbying power of the NRA, and this is called dollar democracy. I've written a book about it. Money in politics in America has influenced some pretty bad policy in so many areas, especially with guns, the tragedy of getting shot. And you know, it's a sad thing today when this happens to children and to adults who are innocent, and it's time that the American people woke up and demanded from the members of Congress to give up their NRA money, give it back to them. By the way, the gun manufacturers give the NRA most of their money. You know, less than half comes from their 5 million members. The rest comes from the gun manufacturing industry, which wants to sell guns. They don't want any kind of regulation because they want to promote gun sales around the world. This is a problem that political leaders have to take an ethical, moral stand on and act on it, and otherwise the country's not going to be very safe.
I want to share with you, Peter, one of the tweets for the opponents to this whole argument, saying, curious if Walmart will now provide armed security at all of its stores now that the company's made it clear it doesn't like individuals who do their duty to carry and do their best to protect themselves. The answer is obviously no. What do you make of that argument that seems to be sustained by the right, that you need somebody with a gun to combat somebody with another gun?
It is not at all a cogent argument. It's very ridiculous, actually, because the problem is with the way we know statistically that states and nations that have lots of guns have far more murders and killings. The United States, by the way, out of the 26,000 or so per year that die at the hands of guns, the vast majority is from people who know each other, from relatives who all of a sudden get an emotional spat and pull out a gun that's sitting in the house, that's loaded quite often, and shoot their relative. That's what happens. These mass shootings in schools are also very tragic, but there are not as many people dying from them as there are these handguns in the homes. So we know that you cannot defend people like school children with rifles and guns, because the shooter will come in and shoot everyone, including the people that have the guns. Including the most ridiculous argument I've seen heard is have teachers arm themselves with guns. That's most ridiculous. It would never work. I'm a teacher. I'm a college professor. I would never carry a gun to shoot back. We have to have much more sensible gun regulation by the government that should not be bought by the NRA or the gun manufacturers.
Peter Mathews, great to have you with us again for your analysis and putting all of this into context. Peter Mathews there from Cypress College in California.